Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is October 18th, 2023. 4 years ago today, it was Event 201. Again, the coronavirus pandemic simulation put on the same day the military world games began in Wuhan, China. But that was 4 years ago today, October 18th, 2019. Here we are on the 4-year anniversary, and Natalee Holloway's back. And if you're new here, I've talked about what Natalee Holloway revealed to me about what a joke our media was back in the 2000s. And I've referred to this as the case of the missing blonde girl, but here we are being interrupted on the potential World War III breaking out by the missing blonde girl story again. And once upon a time, it was the days of color alerts, terrorism color alerts, green days, yellow days, orange days, red days. And that's the kind of news coverage there was. And then all of a sudden, Natalee Holloway disappeared. And then Fox News no longer had time for color alerts or terrorism or war. It pretty much just turned into the 24/7, 365 Natalee Holloway network. And I forget how long it went on for. It went on for like years. At least the way it seems looking back. But it was ridiculous. It was like, how many people disappear every day? Why is this one case so important? She went to a high school in Alabama. But again, from asking questions like that to also asking why do they use the numbers 47 and 74 so much in the news? Does it have something to do with the nation's birthday being the 4th day of July? You know, look at this, you guys. Look at what a big joke it is for Natalee Holloway to come back today on October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year, on the 74th day of Joran Sloot's age. Again, it's the 74th day of his age. He's saying he killed her. It's October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year. Again, in Gematria, Natalee Holloway equals 74. Here's a post on the Natalee Holloway 74 pattern from the Ides of March, the 74th day of the year, March 15th, 2018. And it was breaking news that day that the witness to getting rid of the remains of Natalee Holloway, that he was stabbed to death on that day. And we pointed out then, we said, remember the Ides of March, the 74th day of the year, to remember the killing of Caesar by stabbing. If you're new here, Gematria, the most simple cipher is ABC, is 1, 2, 3, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. You add up the letters of stabbing using the alphabetic order. S would be the 19th letter, T would be the 20th, A would be the 1st, B would be the 2nd, I'd be the 9th, so on. Stabbing equals 74. You write out killing, same thing, 74. You add up the letters. Very interesting number is 74. It's Masonic, occult, English, Gematria, energy, holiday. They're all 74. Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, also Lucifer, also Jewish, also Muhammad. All of those words are 74. It's a special number. The very first video I ever did, and actually the very first post I ever did on Gematria once I learned about it, was how interesting 74 was. So I've been talking about this now since August of 2013 when I made my first post about 74. How there's clearly something important to this number, to the occult, and how they use it with high ritual over and over, and why, like 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents died on 7/4. And again, how perfect that pattern is, because Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on July 4th, 7/4, 1826, and then 1826 days later was July 4th again, and Monroe died on that day. 3 of the first 5 presidents died on 7/4. Huge killing pattern that we talk about all the time in the world of, big time deaths that are in the news, celebrity death, just super recurring pattern. So we've been talking about it for years, right? For all the people who'd be a skeptic of the work, it's like, well, we've been documenting how important this pattern is. Now here we are again on the day leaving 74 days in the year, which just happens to be his 74th birthday. The guy who said he did it, he's guilty for the killing. Again, I mean, and you have to consider that we've taught this lesson a gazillion times. How could it just continue to be a coincidence? But then it doesn't stop there, right? It doesn't stop there. Again, today's the anniversary of Event 201. Event 201. And supposedly he admitted to killing her with a cinder block. Well, in Gematria, cinder block equals 201 like the Jesuit order. The difference here is you just run the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26. And again, why do you know this isn't just some silly nonsense? Well, why does the first ever Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, why is he the first to live in Suite 201? Why does Catholic Pope equal 201? Why are there a gazillion rituals with the language and the calendar synced up with the Pope when the calendar's named after the Pope and you run it forwards, Pope's 52, like the 52-week year? On and on and on. The other thing, too, just right on the surface, right? Right on the surface. It's the 18th of the month that this is admitted to. She was 18 years old when she was killed. And now it's 18 years later. She disappeared in 2005. And you know what else? She also disappeared on May 30th. That's 201 days before the Pope's birthday. Just like Joe Biden sacrificing Beau Biden at age 46 on that same day in history, May 30th. 201 days for the Pope's birthday. Again, Inauguration Day is the 201st day of the U.S.'s age each year on 20/1. Again, these numbers aren't arbitrary. They called the election for Joe Biden when he was at 74 million votes. He supposedly got 81 million, like President Biden and President Trump equals 81, and so does Ritual. And he's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where The Office ran for 201 episodes, where Interstate 81 runs through it. But yeah, it's just, that's why the disappointing part of having this knowledge is that the world still, for the most part, doesn't want to wake up. This knowledge does help wake up people, and that's great. That's the good part. But the sad part is just people just want to stay asleep and just ignore the obvious mockery that goes on day after day. I mean, yesterday, Jim Jordan voted down. Joe Biden cancels trip to Jordan as he goes to Israel. Again, Moses. Moses sees the promised land from Jordan. The Israelis crossed the Jordan River to get to the promised land. Michael Jordan, we've been looking out for him this year. Remember, he was in Italy, spotted in Italy 201 days from the Pope's birthday. Owned the only 201 team in the NBA. The Charlotte Hornets had to sell it on August 3rd, supposedly for gambling problems. Just what happened to Moses Malone, Daryl Dawkins, and Kobe, all through the number 60, which goes to Moses in the Bible through this Gematria code. And Jordan's 60 right now. Watch out for Jordan with all the Jordan stuff. Jim Jordan and Michael Jordan have the same birthday. We've been talking about before all these things unfolded why we got to watch out for Jordan when he's 60. In light of the time of the 60th U.S. presidential election coming up. And we'll talk about why it matters that this story right here today is 60 days before the Pope's birthday. And again, if you're new here, Pope Francis' birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 201, just like Ignatius of Loyola equals 201, the founder of the Jesuits. Just like Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan equals 201. He did the funeral for Beau Biden at age 46 and the inauguration for Joe Biden as number 46 after he was elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. If you write out Limestone Road, it equals 201. Joe Biden's wife and daughter died on Limestone Road right after he became senator-elect in 72. And then when he was 72 years old, his son died 201 days from the Pope's birthday. Jesuit order, small way, is 72. The pyramid on the dollar, 72 bricks. The actual Great Pyramid of Giza, 201 remaining layers of stone. And again, they say Napoleon shot the Egyptian monuments for target practice with his cannons. Maybe that's why there's 201 remaining layers. But remember, the last French pope was the 201st, and Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. And again, the Jesuits began in Paris, France. So Vandersloot's 36 right now. Multiple of 18. IHS, the acronym for the Jesuits, is 36. 666 is the 36th triangular number. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. Oh, by the way, the guy who was stabbed to death, in light of this coming 18 years later, and she was 18, the guy who was stabbed to death on the 74th day of the year, that was in the year 2018. Yeah, for all the people who are spending all their time these days trying to say that it's just the universe doing all this and there's nothing nefarious with the Jesuits, again, I mean, these people, it's just absurd, you guys. It's absurd. There is a gang that's controlling the screens, that pumps out this information, that mind controls the populace, and it's so obviously manipulated. It's so obvious. All these years later, of all the days in the year, Just all these perfect patterns. And by the way, look at CNN's front page as they had this as the breaking news. Look at what's down in the bottom right corner, almost like a signature. Ukraine's special forces used daring raids and distraction tactics in bid to free Crimea. Putin touts solidarity with China in Xi's pitch for the New World Order. Remember, leaders all over the world have said there's a New World Order. And that's been explained to us since the early 90s when the first Bush was in there. Remember, Skull and Bones, which also equals 201. And they're related to the Templars, and the Templar symbolism's in the Jesuit logo. And that's why Paul Walker, who was in the movie Skulls about Skull and Bones, that movie came out 201 days from his birthday. And then he died 5 years to the day of Papa Bush on 11/30, where 11 plus 30 is 41, like he was the 41st president, like Skull and Bones is 41, like Templars 41. Don't overlook that this guy who's the supposed killer was born on August 6th, 8/6, again, 86th. Not a nice number to get rid of. Talk about what had happened to the hospital that they keep talking about in Israel, where no one will take responsibility with the 86 gematria on it, like Hiroshima got 86th once upon a time. Again, all this propaganda all day to play with the hearts and minds and confuse and outrage and make you point fingers and fall in line behind agendas. Again, that's the point of knowing this. The point of knowing this is to see how we're being manipulated. I always find it amazing that anybody would ever, like, I've been asked the question a million times, and I'm amazed that it ever had to be asked once. Like, if you have intuition, if you have common sense, if you watch even one of my videos, might be the worst one I ever made, but still that one would have been good enough. If you watch the video, it should be evident what the point of understanding the information is. I'm showing who's controlling the propaganda, by what code, and how people need to wake up to it because, look, I mean, a lot of people are just not thinking about these things and just going along and doing what they're told. It's like, man, I don't know. That movie Idiocracy looks more and more like a documentary every day. I'm just waiting until Gatorade's in the sprinklers. So I forget what they call it in that movie, though. They don't call it Gatorade. It's something else. Something else, but it's supposed to be Gatorade. Gatorade's taken over the nation. Their product is in everything. The drinking fountain, the public water, the agricultural crop. Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot more that I could say about the Natalee Holloway thing. It's just how much becomes overwhelming for somebody. We covered the 74 and 201, and really, if you're going to introduce this to your friends and family, the things that we did, that's probably already going to be too overwhelming for the average person. So maybe just the 74. If you feel like they can handle one more number, 201. But if you're somebody who can handle even more information, we'll just proceed from here. Again, the 18th of the month, the news breaks, October 18th. She was 18. It's 18 years later, 2005 to 2023. 18, we talk about how in Jewish numbers, 18 is the meaning of life. And that number 74, for example, in Gematria, Jewish equals 74. Again, like Gematria equals 74, the practice of coding numbers into words. Like English is 74, like London is 74, like occult 74, like holidays 74. Run the alphabetic order in reverse. Roman is 74, free is 74, bad is 74. It's like, gotta think about that one with this nation's birthday and everything being so inverted and us definitely not being free. That's why freedom is a word in English with the spells and the spelling. Gotta be some kind of dumb to think you were ever free here. You were told where to be from the time you were 5 years old. You're going to be in kindergarten. Now you're going to be in first grade. Now you're going to be in second grade. Now you're either going to get in debt and go into school or join the military or start working and paying taxes. Again, meat grinder over here. All these broken people and broken souls because they can't keep up with the meat grinder, you know. But even the people who do keep up in the meat grinder, they got all kinds of problems. They usually got broken families because they spend so much time mastering winning in the Greek, meat grinder, which is like making yourself wealthy. Most people who got wealthy, they did something like maybe in a profession that actually wasn't that great for the world. They might have made a lot of money, but maybe their clients didn't, type of thing. It's like they siphoned wealth. But there are good careers that help people all around. It's all the way. It's a winning relationship all the way around. Great farmer in the community, keeps his community healthy. Maybe makes a decent living from it, but probably hard work. I mean, that'd be a win-win. So I'm not hating on everyone who's done well in the system. It's just a lot of people who've done well in the system, they're not doing the best things. How many doctors to hang on to their good salary complied with all the mandates and everything, even though they maybe didn't want to, but they just went along to maintain the salary because they put all this time and investment and gotten all this debt to get this degree. Anyway, I'm getting tangential, but coming back to the numbers. 18. Meaning of life number. Very special number. In a lot of Western society, you're an adult when you're 18. The whole thing being biblical. Again, we're talking about a calendar that's based on the spiritual figure Jesus. That's the calendar that we're on right now, whether you're a Christian or not. That's what time you're on. You're on the Catholic Church's calendar, which coincides with the life of Jesus. And again, spiritual rituals. Murder, a big thing in the Bible. Stories about it, rules about it, serious rules and consequences about it. Tests from, God and other entities about it. Remember, in Gematria, the Holy Bible equals 201, just like the Jesuit Order equals 201, like State of Israel equals 201, like so many things, like today being the anniversary of Event 201, where they literally forecast a biblical scenario, their terminology in the simulations they did, Clade X and Event 201, a pandemic of biblical proportions, but Event 201 on this day, 4 years ago. If you don't know what Event 201 is, welcome to the channel. We were out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation March 13th, 2020, as the pandemic was being declared, educating about Event 201, and we found out that a lot of the people who worked at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation didn't realize that their organization was main co-sponsor of the coronavirus pandemic simulation 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China. And again, October 18th, the day it went down, the same day that military world games began at Wuhan, China. Now it's 4 years later. Military World Games, Israel, more 201, State of Israel, Netanyahu back on 1229, the 201st prime. He stepped down on June 13th in 2021, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Again, this same number, because these things are rituals. The numbers used as the ritual synced up with the date. Rumors of World War III. Netanyahu came back on Albert Pike's birthday, who wrote the letter about 3 world wars, which was published August 15th, 1871 on the Jesuit order's birthday. When the Albert Pike statue fell in D.C. on June 19th, 2020, after the George Floyd riots, that was 201 days before January 6th, where the Confederate flag flew. Confederate has that gematria 201. Lincoln blamed the Civil War on the Jesuits. The Albert Pike statue fell, again, 201 days before January 6th, but it fell because of the George Floyd riots. George Perry Floyd, his full name equals 201. Dead 201 weeks after a Gematriae, killed in Paris, France by police on the 201st day of the year. It was a leap year the year he was killed, so it was July 19th, 2016. 201st day of the year, 201 weeks before George Floyd. All of these things have been used to ignite chaos throughout the world. Over and over, and it goes beyond that. And again, don't forget, from the Jesuit formation, going back in time, it was 201 months after Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses. 201 months later, the Jesuits are created. Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated on the 95th day of the year, like Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses, from the day of the MLK assassination to the first major gun control in this nation in 1968, 201 days later. And these mass shootings that we cover all the time. 201, 201, 201. Goes back to Sandy Hook. The first shot given for COVID in the U.S. was to Sandy Lindsay on the anniversary of the Sandy Hook shooting. Different type of shots. And remember, Noah Posner, his mother's name equals 201 in Gematria. I can't think of her name right now. She's always out there advocating for undermining the Second Amendment. And keep in mind, even James Madison's 201, the father of the Constitution, the first Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice John Jay 201. The 201s go back to the beginning of the country because the Jesuits have been here the whole time. D.C.'s the Jesuit stronghold when the country was made in Philadelphia. So think about how it moved to the Jesuit stronghold, the nation's capital. But, yeah, this 201 piece, and then her supposedly being killed with the cinder block on the anniversary event 201. Order of Illuminati. Again, notice the gematria of 201 and 93. Remember, Alec Baldwin, for example, is born on the 93rd day of the year when he killed the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust right before Russia-Ukraine, which was October 21st, which is also Natalee Holloway's birthday. But anyway, they reported that the killing was at 1:50 p.m. local time. Illuminati's 1:50, Order of Illuminati's 201 and 93, the killing 201 days after his birthday on the 93rd day of the year. Order of Illuminati's also 105. Look at the name Holloway and realize this story that we get today, the first big step towards this story, the news broke on May 10th, that he, the Dutch suspect in the Natalee Holloway disappearance, he faced extradition and, or do you say extradition? Whatever. But that word, May 10th, 10/5, like 105. Holloway 105. Again, Order of Illuminati, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, who died in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. But Order of Illuminati, 105 as well. And then 201, anniversary of event 201. And the thing about Order of Illuminati also having the 258 value, the number 666, the number of the beast, the square root of that is 25.8. And again, 666 is the 36 triangular number. He's 36 right now. IHS, the Jesuit acronym, is 36, 18 forwards and backwards. Obviously big numbers with the ritual. Again, they're a sun cult. Sun is 18. Look at Illuminati again, 150. They say the sun is 150 million kilometers away on average, and Order of Illuminati has the 93. They say the sun's 93 million miles away on average. Heliocentrism has the gematria of 150 like Illuminati, 201 like Order of Illuminati, 69 like Illuminati, 75 like Catholic Church. But anyway, in the same century the heliocentric model was agreed to is the same century we got on this calendar that we're on, and the same century English was standardized with the 26-letter alphabet, and all those things happened about 40, 50 years after the Jesuits were created. So, I mean, you think about it. The oldest English script goes back to a Catholic monk. The calendar's named after a pope. It all lines up. The rituals continue to be synced with these people throughout history. Looks like a method of operating. Looks like a method to the madness truly that reveals what's going on. These are numbers relating to, sun and 69, just self-explanatory numbers, yin and yang, just numbers that have meaning. And notice the other 69s. Catholic Church is 69, right? Again, Illuminati is 69. Think about the Da Vinci Code that got so popular around the time of 9/11, when 2 towers became 0 before they became 1. And look at the Jesuit order, 69. Just not an accident. But the point we're making here is how the numbers relate and the dates relate and how the system's used to bring about the propaganda by a code. And one other thing, just with regards to today being 10/18, remember in the Bible, the Holy Bible is another 201. Luke 10:18 is where Satan comes to earth. And there's this terminology for Satan in one place in the Bible, that old serpent, which is, it's 177 and 201, like the Jesuit order. If you've ever seen the room at the Vatican, from the right angle looking forwards, it looks like you're heading towards the head of a snake. So, that old serpent, 60. The Holy Bible, 60. The word holy alone, 60. Again, all the rituals with Moses Malone, Daryl Dawkins, Kobe, all connected through 60 and through Exodus 4, where Moses' staff is turned into a snake, and then, the day before Kobe's dead. Remember, Kobe's dead at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, traveling from Catholic Mass in the All-Star Games in tribute to him for the first time ever. It's the first to score 157, and his dad's Catholic high school, LaSalle, was 157 at the time. But Kobe fell to 4th in points scored before the Exodus 4 ritual the next day, when 4 is the number of death, used over and over again. And again, you can learn these knowledges that were written about in a lot of places way before I started teaching about them. Nobody really broke down gematria in English anywhere near like this, but again, the concept of the numbers and the language and the numerical meaning, that was all there for people to research. And there's, even for as much as I've learned, I still know there's way more to learn about this. But, um, and just the Pope's name as well. He's got the 201-105 in it. Same thing. 201-105. So Holloway 105, anniversary of event 201. Again, if you got here late, the big thing, 74th day of Jordan Vandersloot's age. On the day leaving, 74 days left in the year. Her name's 74, as we covered back in 2018. The guy who witnessed or said he helped dispose of her body, he was stabbed to death on the Ides of March, the 74th day of the year. A pattern we've talked about a gazillion times. Again, killed with a cinder block is the story today. 201 on the anniversary of event 201, when we're educating about the same things all the time. Again, the Jesuit order is known as the Society of Jesus. Don't forget that the words Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, they all equal 74 as well. Just like killing, and all in the most simple cipher too. If you're new here, you'd only need one cipher to make this point about 74. And this is all I really looked at right away when I realized there was something going on. I was just like, how can all these words be 74? I mean, this is crazy. Whoops. We got a typo there. It should be RIA. It's not going to change the value of the word. But anyway, we've got one extra word in our list now that's just a typo. Yeah, I mean, just look at all these words right here. It always takes a minute to write them out, but look at all those 74s, and the list could go on. But holiday, London, English, Gematria, occult, Masonic, killing, stabbing, gospel, parables, Messiah, cross, Jesus, Muhammad, Joshua, Jewish. Again, the English translation of Jesus is Joshua. We used this knowledge once upon a time, sadly, to predict why Muhammad Ali would die in 2016 at age 74. And then he died on June 3rd, like the Prophet Muhammad died at age 63. And again, he died in 2016, where 2016 is the 63rd triangular number. And there's so many other things. I mean, it's just, this number's been used so many times in such big rituals. The World Trade Center's on the 74th meridian. What's happening to Gaza right now while it's 74 years old? What's happening to, again, the Superior General, the leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa, he's 74. He'll turn 75 on November 12th. But, yeah, just, again, I mean, I don't understand how anyone can look at this and just be like, I think it's all a coincidence. Yeah, nation's birthday, 7-4. 3 of the first 5 presidents died on 7-4. Ides of March, remember the killing of Caesar on the 74th day of the year? Yeah, I just think it's all a coincidence. Remember what happened to Bob Lee this year? Remember how FedNow went live on July 20th, the 201st day of the year? FedNow, the new digital, system that we're moving to, all part of the surveillance system, it went live on the 201st day of the year. And on the Ides of March, the Fed announced that they'd begin certifying that system the first week of April. So they did on the Ides of March, remember the killing of Caesar in 44 BC. Then on April 4th, 44, Bob Lee, who invented Square and CashApp, is murdered, like in 44 BC Caesar, and he's stabbed to death in San Francisco. And he was in his 44th year of life, and that same day in the same city, San Francisco, a professional bicyclist was killed at age 44. 2 stories in the same day. I was like, what are they communicating with both of these stories? The cycle continues. But, yeah, it's just the same thing over and over. And by the way, with regards to the 201st day of the year, July 20th, that's the day that of the moon landing. Neil Alden Arm, I'm missing a T. Neil Alden Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon. 201, July 20th, 1969, the 201st day of the year. We just saw where 201 and 69 come together with the Illuminati. Again, the moon is illuminated by the sun, so a moon landing on the illuminated object. When in that same cipher, Order of Illuminati's 201, again, founded by a Jesuit who died in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. And again, all history books will acknowledge that the Illuminati was a thing, but they'll also say it all failed and collapsed, and Adam Weishaupt ended up as a degenerate, drunk gambler. But it's like, okay, so that means that the secret society that was created with all the powerful people folded too? I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. Just like pretty much everything in the history book, you're told to believe the word with lie in the middle, but a lot of it doesn't make sense. Adolf Hitler committed suicide, but his body was never found. Adolf Hitler equals 56. Dead at 56 in April, the 56th month, just like Lincoln. Lincoln and Hitler both killed at the end of wars at age 56. One supposedly by suicide, the other by assassination in a theater. The world's a stage. This is how they set the stage, present on the stage day after day, you know. Just talking about the same stuff. I mean, this is the post on Natalee Holloway from May 10th, 2023. But 74, Sloot, 145 like Catholic. The George Santos thing going on at the time, another 145. The Catholic who claimed to be a who but was not. That story was on the Pope's 145th day of his age as well. George Santos was big in the news that day. Again, Israel was created on 14/5, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. So what do you know? Just like how we're saying how the Holy Bible 201, Catholic 145, 145 more chapters. State of Israel 201, invented on 14/5. Temple Mount has the same gematria as Catholic and religion and Ordo Ab Chao and chaos. Again, it's the Catholic Church that's made everyone believe that Temple Mount, which they call it, again, where they eventually want to put the third temple after Al-Aqsa fails. It's like, okay, so the plan's been in the name the whole time in the language. I guess because everyone's asleep and under the spell, they don't think about a name like Temple Mount. And it could be sooner than later, since we are in the time of number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Hold on real quick. I had to take a phone call. 1 second. Hey, what's up, Andre?
Hey, Zach. I'm doing sprinkler blocks. I was wondering if I can do your place and the one next to you in a minute or so.
You cut out. When do you want to do it?
I'm in about 15 minutes.
Oh, wow, that's soon. Okay. Yeah, I'll be ready for you.
Okay, that's
All right.
fine.
All right.
Do you have one next door to your house?
Yeah. I'll show you that when I get here, or when you get here.
Okay.
All right, take care.
Perfect.
All right, bye. All right, I got about 10, 15 more minutes. Sorry. We live in this part of the country where it starts to get real cold at night, and then you have to blow out your sprinkler system, otherwise the pipes will freeze, and then you got a major leak. So apparently it's blowout day. All right, let me make sure I get through the rest of this before it's over. From the anniversary of her from her birthday anniversary to when they pronounced her dead. She disappeared May 30th, 2005, but they waited until January 12th, 2012 to declare her dead, even though that they never found anything. But just for the record, when they did that, it was 83 days after her birthday. Again, the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. It's about how the killing's the sport of the elected. Look at this. Also, the church, you guys. If you, in case you missed the thing about the first video released of the woman kidnapped from the Dancing Israelis festival, her name is Mia Shem, and her name is the exact same as Catholic in all four base ciphers, alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. Again, the war began October 7th on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday. The war was declared by Israel the next day, October 8th, 35 days before the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits, Arturo Sosa. Again, November 12th. The Pope's birthday is December 17th. Their birthdays are 35 days apart, go figure. But again, Hamas is 35 years old right now. Gaza's 35. Again, Holy See's 35. Jesuitism 35. Europe 35. I mean, just think about it. Catholic Church used to rule over Europe. Satan and Baphomet are 35. Goes back to the Templar thing. Mia Shem 145, like Israel's establishment date, like the 145 more chapters. Mia Shem 46, like Catholic, and like I was going to say, Temple Mount. In that same cipher, Temple Mount, or actually forwards, my bad. Forwards, Temple Mount's 46. And in that same cipher in Latin, Order out of Chaos, Ordo Ab Chao's 46, Chaos is 46, Religion's 46. And just think about how perfect it all is. Just in the time of number 46, the only other Catholic president got killed at age 46. So you had her story. But then also this hospital. We said why it mattered so much to pay attention to what happened on October 17th, the day leaving 75 days left in the air, while Israel's 75. Again, really important number right now. But also, this day was 86 weeks after Russian troops went into Ukraine. And 86 is a fateful number. Like Hiroshima on August 6th, the 8th month, the 6th day. This hospital that got blown up, where the story doesn't make sense, right? And look at what they're doing in cable news. Like if you're in the U.S. right now, they're saying, look, Israel put out the video very fast of the rocket failing and falling to the ground. But yes, we cannot verify where that rocket fell. We're assuming the hospital. But then again, they're also telling you it doesn't make sense how big the blast is. They're saying it doesn't make sense how big the blast is. It's too big. It's too destructive for one of these Hamas rockets. So again, take this knowledge. We knew this was a day to provoke and escalate, and they're saying that's what it's done. It's made people, revolt and chant and call for destruction and get out and pray. I mean, they're showing you everything that's coming out of this hospital, and it's got people aggravated on both sides, and people are pointing fingers, but there's no real answers. It's just, it's something that's being used to take advantage of a provoked populace by a problem that's existed for all of our lives. This has been a mainstream narrative, this division, this hate in the world, all the chaos and death that needlessly comes out of it. But what we're showing is how these people poke the wound and set the next trap to provoke it even more day by day, trying to bait us into cataclysm. And again, what are the odds? Because before this even happened, we talked about how it was 86. We'd done a video before they started specifying about the hospital, and we talked about how this was 86 weeks after the Russia-Ukraine thing, which is also connected. Again, one of the larger Ashkenazi populations in the world is in the Ukraine area, just like it is in Israel. That's how we know these things are related. And don't forget that the plural, Jesuits, equals 86. And don't forget that the Pope's 86 years old right now. And don't forget how we called the World Cup and why it made a lot of sense for Argentina to beat France and drop France to 2-2 in World Cup championships in the 22nd event at the end of 22, the first ever World Cup in December, concluding the day after the Pope's 86th birthday, is again his Argentina wins over France, Pope Francis. Remember, they had to tell you Messi was staying separate from the team in Hotel 201. They even had to tell you, actually, that Bob Lee killer, if I forgot to say, they had to show that he lived in an apartment 201. Man, again, you pay attention to these numbers, you see what's going on. But 86 weeks. The name of that hospital, here, it's actually worse than just the 86. Look. Not in Gaza, I didn't want that part. Just the actual name of the hospital. 86 and 130, right? Human sacrifice. 86, 130. Blood sacrifice has the 86. Notice also another familiar number, the 337. That's the 68th prime number. 337, the 68th prime. Important number. So many agendas that are in motion right now in full speed go back to 68. It was like the year they accelerated this plan to divide the world among the Abrahamic religions through 9/11 and this 21st century and everything we've seen in it. Again, in 1968, World Trade Center construction began. New York, 911 made the national emergency dialing code. Opioid production became a big thing in Afghanistan after we invaded. And then opioid crisis worldwide. Fentanyl was approved in 1968. Coronavirus was coined in 1968 as seasonal flu. Look it up. It's not medical misinformation. It's a fact. Coronavirus was coined as seasonal flu in 1968. I just saw CNN run a story the other day about how coronavirus might just now be the new seasonal flu. I was like, and I was pointing out back then that, man, these symptoms for coronavirus where they say it's very survivable, they sound a lot like a bad flu. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, all the symptoms they're putting out there sounds like bad flu. Maybe a few new weird things, COVID toes and whatnot, but anyway, you guys, and like I said, Gaza, it's women and children. Look at this picture of the victims in Gaza. You got little kids, 3 little girls, and it looks like an adult woman, maybe the arms of another adult woman in the background. A nation of women and children is what a lot of the Middle East is, because these men have been killed in this post-World War agendas, I guess, if you will, militaristic agendas all throughout the region. And not just post-World War, it's been going on forever. But yeah, and the media trying to make it you feel like you're a bad person if you don't endorse like what's going on militaristically. We got to fully support Israel's mission there. It's like, Okay, okay, we're reading that 3,500 people are dead right now. I know why they're reporting that number. Again, Hamas is 35, Gaza's 35, everything I just talked about. But what if we saw like out of the 3,500 dead, it's like just a huge percentage are children and women, like almost all of them? How many more need to die? Because of the weird ritual that doesn't make sense at the music festival. And again, if you missed the music festival coverage, there's two ways to look at it with Netanyahu. You can either say it happened 282 days after his birthday, or his 283rd day of his age. That's right, when we were covering earlier this year, the East Palestine train derailment weird situation, how that was synced up with Israel. Hold on, why did that not pick it up? Where is it? Here we go. So, remember, they're calling this tragedy that set this thing off the Reim Music Festival Massacre, and he took office on 12/29, which means October 7th was his 283rd day in office. Again, the name of the festival tragedy, Reim Music Festival Massacre, like they're calling it, 283. And again, that's the 61st prime, number that symbolizes God in sacred geometry, and gematria is geometry in language, or gematria, however you want to say it. In English, the word geometry equals 108 forwards and backwards. Look at that. Forwards and backwards. 108. On 10/8, they declare war. The number in sacred geometry that represents God is 61 from the flower of life. Notice how like Jesus is 61, and so is cross, and so is church, so is Christian, and Christmas, and Roman. But it was 61 date numerology on 10/8. Again, sacred geometry, gematria, geometry, how it all comes together. And again, the fact that I wrote books and educated on this a million times, and how they operate this way, it's like they're playing God. But that's the way it was. It was 61 date numerology, 10/8 that they declared war. 61's the 18th prime, bringing us back to where we started with Natalee Holloway. Her being 18 years old, it being 18 years later. The Sun Cult running things with the acronym IHS in their logo. If you don't know the Jesuit logo, look it up. IHS over the sun, both equal 18. The three nails for triclavianism, the Templar cross. By the way, triclavianism, 201. We'll see if they end up going for capital punishment with the Natalee Holloway killer in light of today's story. And today's also 60 days before the Pope's birthday. And that's part of the reason Moses Malone, Kobe, Daryl Dawkins all went out in this 60 code. And, Kobe, again, at age 41, triclavianism is crucifixion. And by the way, did you see how triclavianism was 93 as well? Look at crucifix, 93. Look at God's son, 93. The sun, 93 million miles away on average. Nazareth, 93. Jesus crucified in the Bible between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Science says his crucifixion date's April 3rd, which is the 93rd day of the year. It's the day Brandon Lee was buried on Alec Baldwin's birthday. And it was Alec Baldwin's 35th birthday, and Brandon Lee was playing the character Eric, and Eric's 35 like Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year while filming Game of Death. Anyhow, I got to get off, Truth Seeker. Till next time.